Cheers, guys. Epics 911, welcome to the Thursday, July 13th, 2017 edition of VR News, coming to you from Spokane, Washington State, from a Dennys restaurant. I was getting desperate. I didn't have a hotel booked, thought I could just get one. There'd be vacancies. Apparently, some big conferences happening in this city right now, and there's no vacancies. And it's dark, so I couldn't use a parking lot because I literally couldn't see myself. Kind enough to allow me to use here at the Dennys this banquet room, which I thought was freaking awesome. All I asked was if I had a table, if I'm not bothering anybody, could I edit at the table? I wasn't even thinking of filming. They offer the banquet room. I'm going to make sure I tip them well because I really, really appreciate this. Having a coffee here, guys. We're going to jump right into VR News. Just want to say the quality is probably going to be a little off. I'm on the road. Try to do my best job with the editing. At the end of the video, some static shots of my trip so far. I know a lot of you asked for that, so I'll put a few at the end. If you're not interested, it's right at the end, so you don't have to watch it. For the rest of you, let's just jump right into VR News, and the editing is going to be back to where it was at Exidy's house and before. I'm trying to keep improving it when I get back. It's probably going to be a lot rougher on the road, but let's jump right into it. Let's start with the first story, and that has to do with the PC version of Valkyrie getting ultra graphical settings. Some really, really nice options now available in that version of Valkyrie. According to NVIDIA's press release, the patch supports the lens-matched shading that I talked about the other day, as well as volumetric lighting and multi-sample G-buffer anti-aliasing, which is a long-winded, fancy way of saying it gets rid of the jagged edges really well. And then, of course, ultra settings that I talked about, shaders added, dynamic lights to projectiles, upgrades to lighting in general, and shadowing in every area and every level, according to the devs. Just my 2 cents on this, guys. I've got a 1080 in my main VR rig. My secondary VR rig has the AMD, and hopefully we're going to see something similar for AMD cards. I mean, I love that we're getting some love here for NVIDIA. I'm just hoping that AMD receives the same amount of attention. I'm sure those with an AMD card would love to see Valkyrie with these types of details. And our next news story, the first video footage of Mario Kart VR, and this is the arcade edition of the game that's going to be exclusive to Japan. Who knows how long, if it's indefinite, if it's a set period of time. We just don't know. Hopefully we find out over the coming months. But take a look at this footage, guys. Now, I would agree with Upload VR. They say that it's lacking a little bit in the audio department. And I don't have the audio enabled right now for you guys. You're seeing the video footage, but check out the link in the description below and you'll hear the audio. You'll see what I mean. Now, the visuals, however, absolutely on point. It looks pretty damn stunning. And it really got me thinking, wouldn't it be freaking cool if Nintendo actually opened up their licensing? Like, seriously opened it up for other platforms, especially while they're not really pursuing VR themselves, and just make that exclusive to virtual reality content. If they're worried about competing with their own stuff on Switch, they don't have to be if they target VR content. Imagine if we got to see this on the Rift and the Vive. Hell, let's get really crazy, PlayStation VR. I just think that would be absolutely freaking amazing. Not just the diehard Nintendo fans, but those of us, even casual Mario Kart players. It's an awesome family game. Yeah, it would be fantastic. And in our next story, UK developer nDreams raising another £2.7 million. Here's the details. So the company has just acquired another £2.7 million, $2 million of that coming by way of Mercia Technologies PLC. They had previously invested £6.1 million in the studio through multiple investment rounds. The other £700,000 raised by unnamed private investors. nDreams is also providing content for a virtual reality arcade company. One thing, just as a final on this, it is clear that there's still a lot of investing in virtual reality. Now what we've got to see, and it's kind of a continuation of what Ruben was talking about with Oculus, but for VR in general. It's great we're seeing these investments. We need the investments to start paying off, though. And it's great to get companies in there, subsidize their games so that they can develop them. But it's got to get to a point, 2, 3 games down the road where hopefully these guys can become self-sufficient. So it's nice to hear that there's still a lot of investment money out there. Probably going to have to be, at least for the short interim, and then hopefully in a couple of years, we're reading stories where these companies are, selling the games internally without any outside assistance. That would be awesome. And our next story, Oculus now has some additional details on the standalone that we first heard about during Connect. We now know it's going to be about $200 US. It's going to have a Snapdragon mobile chip from Qualcomm powering the thing. Bloomberg reporting all of this. Link in the description below. Code name for this HMD? Pacific, which is a pretty cool code name. And we're also hearing that they're going to partner with Xiaomi, the Chinese mobile phone company. They're very large in terms of worldwide market percentage. They're not doing too bad at all. They're even going to get their own branding within China. So pretty comprehensive partnership with Xiaomi for Oculus and their standalone headset. And of course, this is the headset that won't launch until sometime in 2018. Now, what's going to be interesting, guys, is in 2018, and I don't want to beat the proverbial dead horse, but I've said there's going to be casualties, there will be attrition. Now, here's another standalone mobile headset. We're going to get to the point by 2018, there's going to be half a dozen or more on the market duking it out. Not all 6 are going to make it to 2019 or 2020. Which ones are going to make it? I wish, we could fast forward, get a sneak peek of what's going to happen. But I've got my own kind of bets. Certain ones that only support one type of phone, they're probably not going to do so well in the long run. Hopefully, this standalone headset, a little more Android friendly, like the Daydream. And the next news story, company tested out Google Cardboard with Apple's ARKit and found they were able to get some form of tracking, albeit a little limited. Here are the details on that. So, tilt brush artwork is said to have been placed throughout an outdoor environment with point clouds displayed in VR to show the location of real-world objects, operating as a kind of safety system. Now, it's possible to do both pass-through AR, that's where the single camera feed is displayed to both eyes, as well as inside-out positional tracking at around 60 frames per second on an iPhone 7. This is according to the company. Not quick enough for head movements. As long as you're walking around, though, and observing at a gallery pace, the tracking does a decent job of keeping you in the right spot. So just my 2 cents on that. What I'm hearing and reading is that it is very limited form of tracking, but it's a sign of things to come. We are going to get to the point where all these mobile devices offer tracking, and it's just going to be part of their standard feature set. So it's exciting to kind of be there right at the beginning. I mean, we are literally, guys, witnessing history unfold around us. And as someone who's gone through it quite a few times, you don't really appreciate it until you start reflecting back. And the hell with it. I want to be excited now, and I am. It's just amazing to see this unfold and see what it's all going to turn into. Guys, that is it from this Dennys edition of VR News. Who knows where the hell I'll catch you guys tomorrow. But guys, as always, cheers.